At the guy in a challenging place, if you know what I mean. But this guy was talking about the last battle, and he was talking about how the Hawaiians and Israelis have a lot of things in common.
Plenty in common, yeah.
Because our place was taken away from us, and we had to always fight to get what is ours.
Just live, yeah.
We have to prove what is ours.
Yeah.
It says right there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, of
No
course,
need
of
prove
course.
nothing.
Yeah.
Of course.
Says right there, 5,000 years ago.
Yeah.
But still gotta prove and gotta fight for what is ours. So let's connect between us.
Has plenty correlation, bro. Has plenty correlation between us and the people of Israel, too. Like, a key correlation is like, if you think about stuff in the Bible, so the ending of the Old Testament into the Gospels, there is a period of like 300 to 400 years that is almost absent. They say a lot of that whole kind of storyline is in the lost books that had been pulled out of the Bible 325 AD. But in those 300, 400 years, then like in the birth of the Messiah and the Gospels, the people of Israel had been in kind of like a military occupation over the Empire of Rome. And so the Empire of Rome had been in Israel. The people had been oppressed. And each of the king line who was in charge of Israel at the time, who was King Herod, he wasn't a true king of the line of David. And so the people of Israel, that's kind of why has this big expansion and compelling pool of like the story of the Messiah, like him being born, because he was of the true line of David. And so a lot of people, they don't ever think like importance of the Messiah. Yeah, he was an offspring of Akua. Everybody offspring of Akua. But if you look at the book of Luke, it starts with genealogy. This is why Panikanaka, we pull to Christianity early, because in who he is, in the mana that he embodied, being like a steward and a servant, but being a leader of the people. But his genealogical line was of the line of David. And when you think about like 300-400 years of oppression, and the people are looking for leadership and hope and peace and power and a figure to bring everybody together, and King Herod is on the fucking throne, everybody's looking at this joker like, who the fuck is this guy, bro? He fucking eating, utuing everybody. He no more mana. He not of the line, that's why. But when he was born, the introduction of the Christ, everybody began to hear about, hey, this is the opportunity and the chance to have the true line of David to get put back on the throne. So not only the son of God, he is like the true king of Israel, you know. So he wasn't always just one peacemaker.
So the Star of David, that's the six-sided one, huh?
Aye.
So I remember somebody telling me, bro, that's when when you take the triangles for the Hawaiian.
Yeah, and you put them in.
Put them together.
Put them in, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys go deep.
Bro, it gets heavy. It gets heavy, bro.
That's the stuff.
All right, let me try and introduce our
introductions.
He's known as the son of Oahu. He is a devoted ambassador of Aloha from the sacred islands of Hawaii. His mission of sharing the way of Aloha has reached millions around the world via his social media reach and his work as a demanded speaker, facilitator, and ceremonialist. He is Elijah Kala.
Hey! Hey, pretty good. I know I make Aloha. It is good to be with you guys. Actually, haba hanu. And it's called forth the mana of our kupuna. E ulu, kini o ke akua, ulu ka neme kanalo. Ulu o I alau koa me ka ie. A e mai anu I koku ahu. E a ka waila, e vai e ola. E ola no e. E ola no.
All right, let's go.
I get chicken skin already. We never even start yet.
I know.
Shit.
But you always start the conversation with Akua. And then you bring everybody else in, eh?
Yay,
Yeah,
let's do it.
you.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, how did it start with you? Where did you grow up?
Oh, bruh, it's beautiful to be present. Kanaka, little bit of Ramo Olelo, okay? I encapsulate them pretty quickly. I'm half Kanaka Maoli. I'm half mixed European. And all of my kupuna who are not Kanaka are immigrants to Hawaii in the time of the Hawaiian Kingdom. So, has Portuguese immigrants. So, on one side of my ohana, on our dad's side, all of his ohana, half Hawaiian, half Portuguese. On our mom's side, they half Hawaiian, but like they're not Portuguese. They mix a little bit of like the German, has a little bit of Asian inside there. So me, I'm a culmination of being half Kanaka, and then I'm a little bit Sicilian, I'm Portuguese, I'm a little bit Irish, Spanish, and then a Chinese. Yeah, and so, but all of those kupuna came to Hawaii in the time of the Hawaiian Kingdom.
So you're talking about 1800s.
From the 1850s on. Yeah, so from 1850s on, and so I spent half my life, half of my ohana is in the homestead of Papakolea, that is right up the street in Puawaina. Yeah, and then half of my ohana homestead Kahalu. So I spent a lot of my life in those boat homesteads. I played sports all of my life in Kahalu area for Kahalu Broncos and for Kahalu Broncos. But then I lived all of my life in Waipahu. So we had lived in Kaneohe, had an upgrade. The two of my parents had an opportunity to purchase a house in, I would say, the hood in Waipahu, bro, because we lived back door Waipahu, bro, but we had an amazing life. The two of my parents worked hard to put us there. On our dad's side, he construction work on my dad. He was a heavy equipment operator ever since he was about 15 years old, my dad. He was in the union, and he comes from a line of construction workers. And then our mom, she actually still works in the post office. She actually started in the post office when I was 2 weeks old. So no postpartum, man. You know today about postpartum so important, Oh, but my mom, no more postpartum,
Yeah. She was like, I don't deliver one baby, I can deliver the mail.
Yeah, deliver. True that, Rob. Yeah. But hey, they worked extremely hard. Specifically to put their children into good education, which I never fully appreciated until I became an adult, yeah. I see a lot of people who have a difficult time in life, literally the main root problem is a lack of education at a young age, yeah. And this is not everybody, right? Because get plenty people public school, kanaka, they know how for fucking make action, they build business, they're innovative, but the percentages is not as high. Which is what I could appreciate in speaking to my mom, that her intention had been to put us into an environment that we would be spending 8 hours a day in that will increase our probability of being people of excellence. Yeah. So her perspective, it's about the academics and stuff, but it's the environment to put us in, that bro, if you look at these like school environments now, public school system, with like all the shootings taking place and the violence happening.
Don't get me started. This guy was 16 years old.
16 years old,
16 years old.
Yeah, he papakolea boy, Yeah, bro, and
charged for murder for 2 people.
Wild, bro.
No, who he killed is papakolea boys, the Kalama Ohana. And so that, these key incidents that gives us indicators of where the state of consciousness is, in the educational system.
Yeah, well, is it like educational system, or is it how do I say this, like economic or economic situations, or because like I feel like, okay, you can learn a lot of great arithmetic and don't get me wrong, I never went to private school, couldn't tell you anything about it.
Yeah.
But is it, I grew up broke. I do know that. I grew up in Nanakuli, poor conditions, a lot of stress. The weight is heavy. And then what's even worse was heavy weight surrounded by people with the same kind of heavy weight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's all together condensed.
And hard to escape out of that.
Yeah. The crabs keep pulling you down. They say crabs in a bucket, but I think it's more or less the environment builds
environment.
Do you think that's education based, or that might be just situational? So
it's
like no more emotional intelligence.
It's all piece. it's all pieces of the same puzzle, yeah? And so, because it's like, in the words of Haile Selassie, it's like, bruh, in order to empower a people economically, you have to teach them how to even do it. So it comes down to education, right?
But I don't think that it was a social economic status that made him do it. I think that he just tried to be one, he tried to be like one man.
Hey, you get into an
Yeah,
altercation, you
you
don't
know.
have emotional intelligence.
But why does
Yeah.
that make you supposedly believe you're the man, right? Like this thing, if somebody hurt my feelings or hurt my family, okay, I gotta kill them because that's gonna make me a man. As opposed to somebody who is of intelligence, or I'm pretty sure there's somebody from.
First of all, if you use a gun, you want pussy. Straight up. If you use one gun for kill other two people because your feelings are hurt, you fucking pussy?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Did you even take to consideration their family members, their neighbors, everybody that are going to be sad about his death? It's not even going through his mind.
Oh, of course, bro.
Because he doesn't have the emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
And you know what? You can say, well, maybe he had a rough life. Maybe he never had some love. Maybe. I don't care.
Yeah.
You don't take anybody's life.
Yeah.
You want to take someone, go use your fist. But you don't bring a gun and you shoot someone.
But if you keep in mind the information that a lot of our youth are consistently exposed to, like, to also place inside there a majority of youth, and I don't have anything against, like playing video games. I was never a video game guy, but the kind of video games that
True.
that lock our children into this entire new sphere. If they're on VR, they're literally living in that kind of realm. And if they're doing that every single day, late at night, it's programming the human consciousness in a specific way. So if you get into altercations, or you take interest in even beginning to live that in real life, and then have one uncle or have one good friend who is able to get one good gun for $100, or you can steal one gun and you think it's cool to just have and you aren't ever going to use it. But then if you're going to school all the time, kids are picking on you and you're looking for personal power, and that's personal power, and you're going to carry it on you all the time. It's okay to have a concealed weapon if you know how to utilize it and it's responsible. But when it's not, when there's no intention and purpose in it, and then you get put into a situation where that's an option, and you feel that altercation is at risk in any way, it's putting you and your life at risk, and you have an option to pull that.
Yeah.
If you're programmed that way, it's like...
Bro, you can get them online, bro. I'm
get
pretty
'em
sure
online,
these kids could be just talking, playing video games, and letting each other know
That, bro, I
how
got
you
this
can
good
order
spot.
your own
Yeah.
online. Here, check out this site.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what the ghost guns are, right? They're ordering pieces.
Yeah.
And then they put them together themselves.
Yeah, I put them together.
It's fucking insane,
crazy,
bro.
yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
But yeah, that was tragic.
In my time, and I'm not that old, but in my time, it was like, if you were a man, you go brawl it out.
Yeah,
you bring your 2-3 strongest motherfuckers that have your back.
Yeah.
The other guy will bring his 2-3 other guys, and then you just go at it.
That was my time too. I'm sure.
And in the end, everybody shake hands.
Yeah.
And everybody hug, and they're like, yeah, you one man. Okay, let's go. All good.
Yeah.
Boom,
fight, get tired.
You get tired and
They
then
get remorseful in that. Fuck, bro, I'm tired, bro. Fuck.
Hawaiian.
I never mean to look at your chick, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Let's go L&L. Let's go
Killer chain. I want to be looking at her titties, bro.
No, hey, bro, I had an uncle of mine, who, bro, he told me, bro, freaking Uncle Hollinger, bro, he told me one day, these Hawaiians, they always, like, fight. I told this brother at my work, he was so mad, he wanted to scrap somebody. I go, brother, even before you fight, clean your yard. Look your yard all bossed up. You never clean it for 2 months. He freaking look at my uncle go, bro, before you fight, clean your yard, because when you clean your yard and get all tired, you don't like fight anymore. or in other words, handle your kuleana before putting your nose into other people's kuleana.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, because in old days, even though had gun, each of our people, kind of like our aunties and uncles generation, or even in our generation, there was still in big emphasis on like being an honorable person, like having honor.
Honor.
Like having honor.
Yes.
Yeah, which is what is being lost in this generation because of all of the impacts, influences that's causing our people to not even put like a value and emphasis on true principles on how to be a good human, which then again comes back to education. You know, it's getting them exposed to principle and virtue. Like who I am today is because, Kanak, I tell you right now, I can name off the top of my head the main influential people in my life ever since I was born who instilled principle in me. Which, if I talk to any kind of teenager on who they're looking up to, it's not principle based. You know, it's influence based. It's because they have chicks and a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, they're getting influenced by a category of principles and values that isn't true principle and true value. Yeah, it's material based. It's worldly based. Then we come back to our conversation about things in the Messiah. So, like spiritual principle, spiritual truth is what's gonna get people access to that virtue. If they don't have that in the household, you ask how much people who haven't been exposed to spiritual practice, who they believe in, how they practice. Is there a list of 8 principles that you live by? You ask anybody at Kanaka, they're going to have to search far and wide to even understand 2 principles. Yeah. But like in our generation, it was more evident. You know, it was built into our family still, you know,
Yeah.
but because the church is crumbling, you know, like spiritual approaches in communities is in the process of a decline. Like church population is down, but when those people are going out of the church, where are they going to? Is there another option and alternative for spiritual practice? Because the spiritual component is the cornerstone of human society. If you look all the way back, even Rome, as big as that motherfucker was, they had a spiritual component in place because they knew that people needed spiritual practice in order to maintain integrity and peace in the community. Because it pushes you to choose the higher route. Because Akua does that. Yeah. If you know more Akua, you put a gun.
Yeah.
If you know more Akua.
I feel you.
Yeah. So it's an educational component, spiritual component. That's why our work in Awakened Aloha, I feel in our generation, is divine work. Yeah, because it's the kind of work of Akua. Like, but I'm not pushing any religious thought on anybody. We teaching people on how to live Aloha, because when you look into the religions, they all had a universal principle that unified everybody, and that was unconditional love for God, for land, and for one another. So that's our 3 principles: Aloha Aina, Aloha Akua, Aloha Kanaka. It's packaged Hawaiian, but it's universal. Yeah. If you look at the Buddha's teachings, he teaches the same thing. If you look at the teachings of Confucius, take the same thing. Look at the teachings of Krishna, teach the same thing. Because the foundational practices of any religion, that's the mechanics of it. But the truth at the foundation is basically aloha. Have your ohana, have a connection to the place you come from, and be devoted to the highest truth in Akua.
I have to admit that I love how you break it down. I love how you break it down because I'm not a big fan of religion at all. I don't like religion. I think most of us are fighting, or in the world are fighting, who has a better imaginary friend.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
of course.
But the way you break it down, and you choose the principles that are good for life, and you choose them to lead you, to guide you.
Yes.
This is the right way. I agree.
I
It's not about Christianity. It's not about Judaism, Buddhism, whatever.
Yeah.
It's about taking what makes you a better person. I totally agree with you.
100%, you know. But, you know, if you ask a pastor that, if you ask a monk that, you know, they get different approaches and philosophies around it, which ultimately, if you're looking at spirituality as a key component on how to live life, then it has to liberate you. It cannot limit you. And if you look at beliefs in Christianity and organized religion, in whatever way, Islam, anywhere, there comes a certain point where the practices that is in the philosophy of the religion is limiting to true potential. It's limiting. So it's like I came to the point where I was like, you know what? If you go into a church, Kanaka, a majority of them, they're not even talking about the Messiah. They're teaching the teachings of Paul, his student, one apostle. He never even meet Jesus. You know, he teaching a different approach and doctrine. He was a Roman citizen, Paul, right? But if you look at the teachings of the Messiah and you follow the Messiah, not the students, follow the teacher, Kanaka. Yeah. Hey, but get plenty Buddhists, but they all looking to one Kanaka. You look to Buddha. You know, look to the head Buddhist in every temple, Hoing.
Yeah.
You look to the teachings of Buddha, because that's the closest to Akua. So, you know, like speaking of Kanaka, it's like, who do we follow as the one way in truth to who we are? Because, bruh, if I would ask you guys, how would you define Hawaiian spirituality?
I would define aloha.
Okay?
Yeah, same thing, huh?
Okay?
I break it down to the experiences around you as black and white as can, right? The land, the air, the sun, nature. Because there's one with the land. From what I grew up on, so aloha, aina, everything, huh? So it was just, that's why they had a god or a symbolism for every part of nature.
Yes.
To love and respect it as such, right? You have your, everything had a god, bro.
Everything had a makua.
Yeah, every living thing, and you would respect it as such, you know, and how you treat your god, you love it, it feeds you back,
Yes.
everything, right? Like you take care of your god, your people, and then it will
Akua
flourish.
take care of you.
Yeah, it comes back in a big circle. So it's constant care.
Constant care,
care. And that's what I
Pono.
That's what I
Maikai.
try to stick with, you know.
I agree. I was just telling my buddy the other day, you know, I talked to one Kanaka. I think I told you that too. You know, everybody's talking about sustainability, but Kanaka used to do sustainability since day one.
Oh yeah,
of course.
You know what I mean?
Bro.
Oh geez,
They made original paradise. Like
Yes.
back in the day, right? Like you
Yes.
come somewhere where everything's abundant.
Yeah.
What you like
But you only take what you need. You
Yeah.
only take what you need, and
Yep.
you give back,
Of course.
and
yes.
you appreciate. Now it's about take, and let's hope nobody sees it. I can take some more.
Because it's the introduction of a new thought. That's the thing, right? Which comes back again to education. Yeah. And so in our generation, there is a re-emergence of ike kupuna, of ancient thought systems. Because everything is consciousness, yeah? Bro, I would speak to my sensei. He'd always tell me, bro, that it doesn't matter where you go, Eli. If you really see everything as being an expression of consciousness, then you can get an understanding on what tools you have and how these tools could be utilized to shift consciousness for the better. Because a majority of humanity lives in low states of consciousness. They're always in survival because of the systems we live in, because of different styles of leadership. A majority of humanity, I'm talking about like 98% of humanity, is in our current systems is not ever going to experience heaven on earth. Heaven on earth is a conscious state. If you can know how to, as the Messiah says, what? Our Father who art in heaven, holy be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth. How? As it is in heaven. Yeah. So he didn't teach us to go to heaven. He told us that we have the manna to bring heaven to earth. And when you live in Hawaii and understand ike kupuna, you realize our kupuna had heaven on earth. To a degree. Because when coup season come around, you better get ready for bang.
but again, the circle, right?
That's part of the cycle. Part of the cycle.
Right?
Part of the cycle.
Because even in that the Bible, right? That's eventually when you have paradise, you have the fucking snake, and
Yeah.
of course it's the women's fault that we have these problems. No. I'm kidding. But yeah, circles.
Hey, but it's the human ego that always exists, right?
Yeah.
And so I try to do my best to not kind of state things that I do or that I feel is pono to be either right or wrong. Because to have that understanding, right, it's not really being right or wrong, is what is closest to alignment and what is the furthest from alignment. And if you have this concept of like sin, as people always saying you do wrong, if you really look at the like history of the concept of sin, it's all those decisions that you make that push you out of the presence of the divine. So if you do anything that you know actually kills your own vessel, have that be stealing, have that be watching too much freaking porn on Instagram, or doing something in how you converse and how you perceive somebody, have condemnation over their actions, all of those things, they take you out of the presence of the divine. So, and you know it internally. If you can, kind of have connection into your heart center, into the seat of the wisdom that in Hawaii is called the Na'au. If you have connection to the Na'au, and every time something happens, there's this instant, indicator like, oh, this was something that wasn't pono. It takes you out of the state of alignment to akua, and therefore it weakens your mana. This is why when you think of the Messiah and being a person of just pure divine light, every decision, every thought, every action, every behavior only amplified his mana, because he always maintained in the presence of akua. Yeah. So it's not like teaching people on how to do the stuff that I do, teaching people to give them the universal tools to actually know every time you make a decision, there's that indicator that kicks off immediately, that you begin to know and have a reference point on what truth is, and you follow that mana. You don't follow outside teachers, because a majority of spiritual teachers, everybody has ego, including myself, and we're always working through it. That's why you always gotta stay cleansed. You always gotta jump in the ocean. You gotta eat clean. Because when you do that kind of stuff and put that energy into your body, it screws up all the processing of your consciousness. And when your consciousness is flawed, then your decisions become flawed. So therefore, again, reconnecting to Akua Kanaka education.
So let me ask you a question. So were you always like this, or did something happen to you that you decided, I want to choose this way? Because you can choose.
Oh, you gotta choose it.
You gotta choose it.
You gotta choose it. Yeah.
So what happened that you chose that way, or were you always like that?
So there is a combination of a few things, brah.
I know when before we went on camera, he was saying my dad is now happy and he's now proud of me, and I can see that. I can see that because you infuse good to the world.
Yes.
And if I would be your dad, I would be proud of you.
I try to do my best, bro.
Because you infuse positivity. You infuse hope. You infuse greatness.
Yes.
But were you always like this?
Yes and no. Yeah.
Start with the no.
So it has an analogy that had really stuck to me in my early stages of my spiritual awakening, and this was that in every seed has the potential to have a tree in every seed, but it doesn't always just have the potential to have a seed. It has, if you think about the power of a mango seed, it has the potential to produce a mango grove, not just a tree. Yeah, but what's needed? The right environment, the cultivation processes, the perfect access to sun, perfect access to water. Yeah, all of those things fuse into the activation of the potential of that seed. Yeah, and at any given time in the process, if any of those things are compromised, then the potential of the seed begins to diminish. Yeah, and so the trick is then, if we look at who we are as being seeds, then we need to identify what's the right environment to cultivate the potential that exists within us. And so I was always a person of aloha, and so the yes and no comes because I went on my own path that was on the other path sometimes, kind of just getting discovery of my own self. But ever since I was young, everybody always told me, and the two of my parents and my kupuna, hey, kupuna time, they look at Orokiki, they go, oh, this boy, he gonna be an ali'i, he gonna be a warrior. This boy, look him, You're real strategic. Yeah, like a kupuna could already see him in you when you're only like 1 year old. They're like, oh, this boy, he real kind. Oh, he's probably gonna be a healer. Yeah, for me, all of my kupuna always knew that I had plenty aloha, and they never understood how, where, why, and so these things stuck, kind of stick to me in the times. And when I start growing up, I begin to see like how who I am is connected to the both of my parents, and I begin to see behavior patterns in my parents that I adopted. Yeah, and then in the two of my sisters and my brother, I begin to see things that they adopted, and how all the same but all different at the same time. Like all my cousins, we all the same but we all unique. Yeah. So this kind of state of observation is what I kind of picked up early on in my life, like picking up these really cues and indicators of like the human experience. And then I got into football at a young age. I started playing football when I was like 6 or 7 years old, Kahalu Broncos. And I was blessed to have some amazing coaches, bro. We weren't always a winning team, but these coaches, like a specific coach or two specific coaches who breathed a lot of life into me, had been kupuna in this time already. They were in their 50s and 60s. Yeah, that's my Uncle Peter and Coach Butch, who too come from Kahalu. And they always breathed so much life into me. You see, I had a speech impediment all of my life. I couldn't always talk. Yeah. Each time I had a big, like, a lot of energy. I didn't know how to communicate myself. I didn't know how to put all of my thoughts into words. And if I tried too hard, a stutter would always come out because the man is so strong. Yeah. I cannot even contain them, Hawaiian.
Yeah, the energy
energy is so strong, Hawaiian. I can't even. That's the reason why in today's world, everything that I do, I only Hawaiian. I pule and I chant. Because I began to see early on that so weird. I cannot talk, but each time you put music on, and when I can sing, and I sing fluidly. So I began to learn that, wow, I take this energy that I cannot talk with, but if it's brought in rhythm, it comes out with a lot of mana. Yeah. But in that time, two of my parents, they working full-time, kanaka. I get my cousins around, everybody teasing me because they think I just cannot. But I still love all my cousins. I love everybody. I love everybody in my family. But, because I get one weakness that's super obvious, people have a tendency to pick at it, yeah? And that began a big path of mine in personal development because I was always put into a box of who and how people had perceived me to be, just through how I communicated. And I didn't know how to communicate. And super interesting because each time I would get into a high pressure situation, like one scrap, on the verge of one scrap, or I gotta express myself with like plenty love, I can speak fluently. Smooth, Hawaiian. I'll get into altercations, bro, with people, bro, when I was young, bro. Like heavy arguments, like they like bang. My mana in my voice, Hawaiian. No stutter to be found. So you see, I picking up all this stuff, Hawaiian. Like, what's going on? Because this whole spiritual path that I'm on today started because I needed to understand who I was and what was causing this in me. And, bruh, I had opportunities to go see speech pathologists, had opportunities to get teaching and mentorship in school. They could never have the whole code cracked on what's causing him to have a stutter. It's not mechanical. It's energetic. Yeah. And I would hear that from my mom. You just get plenty of energy. Sometimes you gotta slow down. You just gotta slow down sometimes. Okay, but what does that mean? So hard to have the conversations that had helped me to get over that. I had to go on the journey on my own. I started reading about, expert speakers. That's the reason why I'm a professional speaker now, is because I had to crack the code of like who I am and how I communicate. But it never started cracking fully until I began to embody who I was as being a kanaka. Because I started to realize that I get all this mana in speaking, but if I'm not putting it in a direction that is 100% connected to who I am, and I'm trying to position myself as being a person of influence, like speaking in different areas of being a motivational speaker. I can be a motivational speaker, but that's just a thing that I do. That's not who I am. There came a point where I began to have an identity as being that, and then it started pulling me away from who I am. You see, all of these spiritual truths, I'd be like, if that's not me, okay, but that's a part of me. So how do I integrate it into who I am? I'm not a rapper, but I can rap. But I'm not a rapper, right? So really intricate details in how I began to have an identity.
I want to tell you, when I started to follow you, I was during COVID. And I would say about 2.5, 3 years ago. And I really got connected to you because what you said, I felt like has so much truth, honesty, and you didn't say, "Oh, I know it all." You were asking questions, and I love people that don't say, "Oh, just talk."
Yeah.
I like people that ask questions and leave a question mark.
Yes.
You do your own due diligence.
Yes.
You decide. I just gonna ask the right questions at the right time. And then it's up to you to do think. Do your due diligence. You make your decision. And when I started to follow you, I think you had back then 20,000 followers. Nowadays you have like 50,000 followers. I see your engagement. Like people value what you say. People listen to what you say because you ask the right questions. You say the right stuff. You don't patronize. You don't say, "Oh, I know it all." The opposite. You say, I want to know it all. I want to know. I don't know it all. I want to know. I want to ask. You tell me what you think.
Yes.
And I saw also, most of your posts, you say like, what is your opinion? You ask for people's opinion. And everybody else is just want to tell us what to think. They say statements. I don't like get statements. I like what you do. Ask questions.
Yes.
And then it makes me think, wait, what does it make me feel? How does it make me feel? What does it mean? What do I think is right? And it keeps you going. And I think this is what we need to do with our community, to not let them be followers and listen, but rather ask questions and be curious. You know what I mean? Be curious what it is all about. What make us feel good? What make us feel bad? What is right? What is wrong? What do we don't like? What do we feel is good for us? And
that's good, bro. Yeah, you.
Growth, you. That's the growth, but
yeah.
Helping everybody grow together, huh?
Yeah.
And to critically think, but how do you learn to critically think? You're tested, dog. You're tested. This is why I love entrepreneurs. And this is why I love people who are like SEALs, who are Army Rangers, who are people who have to think on the spot. Because when shit takes place and you have 2 seconds to make a decision, what the fuck are you going to decide? That's the kind of stuff, Hawaiian. That's the stuff. Because you can be all Hawaiian. I tell you right now, the amount of Taran brothers who get put into a do or die situation where everything in the nervous system is gonna either flee or engage. What do you do, Kanaka? And I tell you, those small little that piece of who you are, it can get exercised through doing that on a daily basis. That if you see a homeless person who asks you to just for $1, and you get $1, Kana, but that 2 seconds comes and you're gonna make one decision, a majority of people say, "Nah, bro, good, bro, I'm already know." That small decision, bro, it has a compound effect in who you are and the confidence in who you are. Because if you're then put into a situation where has a shooter on the premises and everybody's scared and they're running away. I've always been the kind of Hawaiian, because this is how my dad is. I also learned from example. You step in. You don't ever step out. Never step out. If you know you have the capacity to think on the spot and to help everybody out, take fucking leadership. Because in those times, people need leadership. And it's not a thing you like, yeah, you choose to do, you have had the like skills placed in you and the confidence developed in you to then when those situations hit, you can make a decision that is positive for everybody.
Maybe life chose you, and then you have to
Choose life. 100%, bro.
Yeah.
100. And bro, and at times people, they don't ever learn this until it's too late, and they think to themselves, oh, I think I could have done something. Oh, that person got hurt and that person was in on fight, and oh, bro, I could have done something there.
Everything's 2020 in retrospect, huh?
Everything's 2020.
Right? Like, everything's super clear. Like,
Yeah.
shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah, shoulda, coulda, woulda, but you fucking never.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I think about these things, I think about the mo'olelo of our ali'i. I think about all of our chiefs. You know, because I grew up in a family where a lot of the men super strong in my family. Strong Hawaiians. Yeah. From Papukolea. Do or die, Hawaiian. Fight in the street. Bro, you get any issues? Kanaka, I see my two uncles fight in our yard. Scrap. Until one win, Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Because they like bang, Hawaiian. And they angry at each other. And they just gonna go for them. Everybody just watching, Hawaiian. You cannot stop them. Yeah. Yeah, and I say that's positive. But I began to learn that the cool energy that exists within us, like the energy of the masculine, you know, if there's no integrity, if there's no intention and discipline, if there's no emotional intelligence in the situation, then it becomes destructive. Yeah. But if you are able to maintain that mana, you know, when all that fire begin to breathe up in you and people begin to feel that mana. Every single time I stay on one hall meeting, you know, I stay like on city council something, or I stay on classroom, and I gotta say something. All of my kupuna tell me for like always say something, because there's this massive build up in me, and I began to recognize what that was early on. And so every time I was put into situations, I realized like I can be the one person in this situation to help to mitigate and to bring peace. I'm not gonna come over here swinging arms. If these two brothers is fighting, Hawaiian. But you gotta be able to hold that space. If you not can hold that space, they're gonna crush you, Hawaiian.
Stay out the way.
They're gonna crush you, Hawaiian. Stay out of the way. Kanaka, I seen Kanakas fighting, but fucking big, Hawaiian. 6'1", 6'2", cause angry. They're like bang, crowd behind them. Hawaiian, step right in the middle, Kanaka. Step right in the middle. Hawaiian. Aole, Kanaka. Think of our kupuna. They go, oh shit. You see, because in those heightened states of emotion, you're not thinking about anything, Hawaiian.
Yeah.
You only think about that fucker right over there. Yeah. Bruh.
Straight up, bro.
But bruh, if you sit down and you ensure that the foundation of your thought mechanics is your kupuna, is your ohana, is your aina, is higher purpose. If you gotta go battle, Hawaiian. But that has to be the last option.
What you're basically saying is putting all those good things before ego, and
Ego,
that's hard, because the ego is destructive.
Strong.
And the ego, I mean, you know, so much things that we do is based on the ego. Is
Yes.
based on ego, fueled with ego. You know, to take a step back and say, fuck that.
Yeah.
I don't need that kind of ego.
Yeah. It's hard, bro.
It's not easy.
Yeah, it's like each human. I'll freaking teach this to. So I spent about a year on the campus of the youth prison in Olomana, in a Hawaiian organization that took in all the youth who are Kanaka to rehabilitate them. Yeah.
Oh shit.
And we had to learn like how these brothers thinking, because these brothers is coming out of prison. They've been in prison for 6 years. Yeah, they got into Olomana 13 years old, and they come out at 19 years old. Yeah,
Fucking mental.
cause
Bro.
mental Kanaka, but for legitimate things. They dealing methamphetamine on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 13 years old. He hold up on gas station at gunpoint, Kanaka. Away, Kanaka. You see, these big decisions, it you know, it's in the words of my sensei. He always told me, you gotta make sure, Eli, because he would correct me every time I would like make a bad decision. You gotta make sure that you can put your whole life on every decision you make, your entire life, because you live so much in truth that every decision that you make has this intention that is potent and powerful, but it's aligned. It's not like the kind of decision state that like is evil. You have to be able to put your whole life on the line. So if you're gonna make a decision like that, you have to be able to risk it all. And if you're gonna risk it all and make a bad decision, then you bear the consequences, huh? But you gotta mitigate that, because those things are traps. And so each of the youth at Olamana, I would always tell them, boys, you guys gotta try see them like this. Every human, every Kanaka, we get half animal and half God. So we're kind of like an intermediary between God and each of the animals of the plane. We're like right in between, because maybe like we're not as intelligent as Akua, but like kind of each of the animals in the plane is not as intelligent as us.
Yeah.
So we kind of an intermediary, which really then gives us this high responsibility. And then integrating spiritual philosophy, that every single human has to know that there comes a time the animal self or the ego self is always going to make decisions if you keep on feeding it. If you always got to have sex, if you always got to have 3 plates when you should have only had 1. You should have got
that very personal. That very personal.
like these key things that is like an everyday life, like in what half of who you are is making the decisions. Is it the Akua self or is it the animal self? And I would ask the boys all the time, how do you know what is the Akua self and what is the animal self? Because that brings in a whole other conversation. Like, if you're making a decision that is in the animal self, it's usually things that feed into the flesh. Like feed into things that not always potent, but you crave it. Because there's a part of you that craves that thrill and desire. That stuff. That's kind of one indicator on how you know it's not really of Akua. Because Akua stuff, it doesn't have too much impact on your emotions. It's just truthful. You just gonna make the decision because it's the highest virtue. It doesn't depend on how you feel. You make the decision in truth because of the fact that it's truth. It's nothing else. It's the right thing to do, so you make the decision for the right thing to do. Even when you fucking itching and crawling and you're having a hard time and somebody hurt you and you can forgive them and they like beat your ass and you made a bad decision, people humiliating you still choose the noble path. That's the test, huh? Yeah. So that kind of stuff, it's proposed to you every single day, bro. These are the fundamental things that we need to bring back into the household. It's the fundamental things that has to be reintroduced in our everyday lives. Because if our parents, if we have children and we don't live that way,
how will they know?
Our kids are gonna do what you do, not do what you say, right? So it's like you live aloha, preach aloha, you live aloha, and when you live aloha, then automatically what you say gonna be of aloha. But not always when you say you aloha that you live in aloha. Yeah. So choose to live it, and then whatever flow from you is gonna be of it. Because you can never give anything you don't have.
Yeah. When I moved here, some smart man said, "Live aloha or leave," and I love it.
That's a wise man.
A wise man.
That's a wise man. Yeah. That's a wise man.
And you know what? I feel blessed to be able to live on this island and to choose the way of aloha. Because from the place that I come from, there's not a lot of aloha. There's a lot of war. There's a lot of
hustling,
a lot of trouble, a lot of problems. Nothing is free. Nothing is given. Everything is taken.
Yes.
Living here I feel blessed to be able to, both of my children were born here.
Amazing, bro.
I have an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old, Leia and Naya. Both of them embody the aloha. They don't know difference in color. They don't know difference in nothing. They just know how forgive.
Yes.
Yes. To be good.
Yes.
And I feel blessed to have them growing up over here.
Yes.
And I wish everybody could, be so grateful as I am to have the chance to live in Hawaii and live the life that, you can choose to live a good life.
Yes.
You can choose to live a healthy life.
Yes.
And over here, it's easy. You just got to choose. Because if you live in Kentucky, if you live in Wisconsin, if you live in Massachusetts, you live in Israel, you live in Germany, it's much harder for live aloha.
Yeah.
But if you can embrace aloha, if you can adopt aloha, the approach of giving and giving without expecting to get back.
Yes.
You give to have the satisfaction of giving.
Yes.
Not of satisfaction, I give so I can get back.
Yes.
You give and you enjoy the giving.
Yes. It's powerful, bro.
Powerful.
But it it's one of the reasons why, like, in 18 or 20 years, or it's probably going to start before that, but brother, in Hawaii, even our own people struggle with that. Because of intergenerational trauma, because of the environments, the economic status of particular people. If you're in a state of survival, it's super hard to choose that. Yeah. But it's the best time to choose it. It's the best time to choose it, right? Because in hard states of survival, when everything in your body is not wanting to choose it, but then you still choose it, it displays a devotion to who you are, truthfully who you are, right? So in different communities, like being able to kind of plant spiritual chapters, different communities around the world. Like, come on, bruh, I'll speak to the President Biden, Kanaka, I need $5 billion. They have $5 billion to begin planting this around the world so that our end goal is to bring about world peace. Because even Antipila Hipaki said, it's like the key to peace is living aloha. Yeah, is living. But if you're in a system where everybody is tooth and nail and they're always scratching, it's the wrong environment to expect all of that to come to be. Yeah. Right? Kind of like the crabs in the bucket. Bro, I seen this freaking awesome post about that, who actually said, yeah, but people hardly speak on each of these crabs in the bucket is not in their real environment. In their ideal environment.
Yeah.
That's not where they come from. Yep. So if you take people out of themselves,
they shouldn't be in the bucket in the first place.
They shouldn't be in the bucket in the first place. So when you put them in the bucket and they're trapped, then they have no other thing to do other than pull each other down. Yep. Right? Ooh. So it makes sense. Right? So it makes sense. It's like, bro, if you take that and have that connected to our experience as Kanaka. If you take, and this is all Kanaka, this is all humans. If you take us out of who we are, then we're always pulling at people because we're looking for who we are. Because it's been taken from us, our identity, our language, our cultural customs. A lot of people in the U.S., I talk about this in all of my talks. A lot of people, a majority of people in the Western world in the U.S. is not in their homeland, and therefore, they are not speaking their home culture, kind of in practice of their home culture. They ain't speaking their indigenous language, because all Europeans also have an indigenous language. But because of the Empire of Rome, things began to get completely cleaned out. But when you take people out of that, what can you expect?
Yeah, no more root.
They're no more root, Hawaiian.
Yeah,
and the fruit's spoiled.
Yeah.
But Hawaiian, if your fucking fruit's spoiled, and you're blaming the branch, or you blaming the other fruit, but this fucker on the bottom will cut your root. He will poison your soil, right? So it's like, yeah, it's easy to live aloha in Hawaii for a lot of people that didn't grow up with it. But for Kanaka who grew up with aloha, but seeing everybody else economically prosper and each of our communities are still having a hard time, we cannot help but try for poo hoing. Yeah. Because this is our... it's like, bro, we stay in our aina, but this your bucket, and you won't put us in your bucket, and then expecting us to try look over the bucket, and when we look over the bucket, we see everybody winning. Fuck.
Word.
Just put me back in the bucket, homie. Yeah? Or you gotta be that main freaking Karnak, like a Kamehameha, to climb out of that bucket. You know what? We're gonna figure out how to tip this fucker. Yeah. We're gonna tip this fucker. We're gonna hold him, homie. But how you do that? It has to be based on the Ike of your kupuna, homie. Has to. Which is, I love the lahui, I love our people. A lot of the times, a lot of our expression and action always comes in a place of anger because of the fact of our pain and our trauma that we've had to endure. If you was in the bucket for 200 years and you never know why, and then you realize why, and then you're still looking at this fucker who bringing one out of bucket, getting more kanaka inside, you're like, oh, Hawaiian.
So let me ask you this: if you already talk about that, you know how when Obama was president, I think was it Obama or was it like was it fucking Clinton?
The apology resolution.
Yeah, the apology.
Yeah.
Why never paid reparations, stuff like that?
It's a slippery slope, bro. Like already just admitting, okay, shit like that. For America, you gotta imagine there's an ongoing legal battle right now as a country of Hawaii that's going on in international court with the Hawaiian Kingdom.
Yes.
And you should look it up, bro. HawaiianKingdom.org. What is his name, Uncle?
Oh yeah, bro.
Bro. Sai. Keanu Sai.
Yeah.
Bruh, Keanu Sai.
He's a political analyst.
Brilliant, bruh.
Yeah.
So, long story short,
a wizard.
He was in the military, went to Iraq, saw how the United States overthrew the government, but not the country, right? It's illegal to take the country.
Overthrow our country's independence. You cannot.
So all they did was overthrow the government, take over, and what they do is they occupy. By law, they can occupy for X amount of years to help the country rebuild itself as a rule of war.
Yeah.
So he looked back at the Hawaiian Kingdom and was like, oh shit, wait a minute, this is exactly what went on back home, because they claimed they overthrew the kingdom and took over Hawaii when in fact there's no paperwork for it. First of all, the annexation
had no treaty,
and so X amount of years they're supposed to technically help rebuild and leave. So in his eyes, in the case that's happening now, it's what is it, extended or prolonged occupation?
Yeah.
And so he's fighting it in international court right now as we speak, bro, with a brilliant way to do it, bro.
Yeah, bro. It's been an ongoing battle since 2001. He's been doing this, and since it started, he had hoolied the entire historical storyline of who we are as Hawaiians.
Yeah.
Because speaking of the apology bill, because being a historian, you gotta look, and how he started all of this was he was doing his genealogy. He had to know his genealogy. But if you take the genealogical approach and concept of history, every event is in sequences, cause and effect, every event. So you trace back the mo'olelo of the event. How did we get this? What the hell happened? You go in reverse. And he went all the way back until 1810, the bringing together the Hawaiian Kingdom in the reign of Kamehameha. But he began to realize all these things. And when you look at the apology bill, it's actually plagued with misinformation, massive misinformation. It doesn't really, it kind of states each of the people who are Kanaka as an indigenous people. The Kanaka are not actually considered to be indigenous people. Yeah. Because an indigenous person is considered, like, in law, it's considered to be a person who haven't all come to a community agreement to really become a country and organize people and country as it is pertained in like the family of nations to like European concept, right? But us as Kanaka were already independent countries since 1843. And so if you read the apology bill, I guess the apology is good, but it actually apologized for all the wrong things, right? So it looks like a great apology on the surface, right? He spoke over here at Ilani Palace in the 100 years, the 100-year anniversary of the overthrow. But when you look at the print, what is the apology bill? The storyline is not even our storyline. That's not the real storyline. But that took place previous to when all of this other work of, that's been coming out in the international courts and the studying of our real political history through all the works of all the professors, Uncle Keanu Sai and his Ohana, has spearheaded all of this. And they are the main people that is going to lead us, I personally believe, right? Because there's different approaches and factions who are in place to try to do our best to help us to reclaim what is ours inherently and rightfully, even politically. But it's a sticky slope, which is why I appreciate his approach, Uncle Keanu's approach, because he's not approaching it in a grassroots level. He's going from the top down. Yeah. He's not going from the town to build us up to then claim. He's going from the top down. He's looking at international law, and then federal law, and then state law, and then county law.
This is the part that there's a video out on YouTube. I think it's like an hour and a half long where he explains everything as simple as possible, because it sounds very complicated to general people and people who are not really into it. And I think the biggest fear that most people have is, okay, theoretically, right? And this is the most ignorant shit. It drives me nuts. The Hawaiian kingdom comes back. So what? They're going to take away our homes? Hawaiians going to kick everybody out?
Yeah.
And they explain real simple in this video on how it goes parallel with what we call state of Hawaii. And what it would do is it would just take over the same jobs the state of Hawaii has. So, like, you know, we pay state taxes and whatever. We have a governor, lieutenant governor, etc. It just takes away this state of Hawaii that we already fucking see as bullshit.
This concept,
all corrupt, built on, rooted in corruptness, right? That's why everything's so corrupt to today, because
it's rooted on that.
The very existence starts from the corrupt, fake takeover. It would just remove that and replace with the Kingdom of Hawaii, and then that from there,
they will be able to make the right decisions that are really for the people.
Yes, which would be, where your tax money goes, etc., yada, blah, blah, blah. But nothing would, it doesn't remove everything
it doesn't
that's
change
already
too
there.
much.
You own a house, you own your property, fuck, you're already there, that's yours.
It's the infrastructure and the governance that really changes.
Yes, thank you.
It's just the governance that changes.
And I think that's what scares a lot of people. That's why they look at the Kingdom of Hawaii or whatever, and they're like, oh, if they fucking get them back,
so do you believe Hawaii will get their own sovereignty?
Yes, I believe so, because truth always wins. Mm-hmm. The truth always wins, and that's the truth. That's the facts. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The only problem I see, and I think is the shittiest thing, right? Like when you build something, you build a car, you build a house, you take jujitsu, right? You wanna finish, right? You wanna get your black belt, or you wanna see the house finish, or you wanna drive the car you built. The problem is this thing is so long that people, they want to see it now and they want to force it.
Yeah. It takes time.
The shitty thing is, like, we could go our entire lives
and not see it,
and not see the end.
Yeah.
And our next generation, they might not even see the end. It might be 4 or 5 generations down the line,
Yeah.
After fucking the world's desolate and everybody bombed each other, and we realize, oh fuck, this little island, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't know, but that's the shittiest part. I see, like, I'm sure you get your family, but I see my friends and their families, and how much generations, it must suck. Like, imagine being born and you got to fight for your own identity.
Yeah. To
prove that you are who you are and this is where you're
100%.
from. Like, you live your whole life being a revolutionary.
Yeah. That's just who you are. Yeah.
And that's the shitty part, is that everybody wants to see it so bad before they go. Yeah. But the reality is, you might not.
Yeah.
It might be,
and that's okay.
Down the line, yeah.
And you got to be okay with that.
Yeah.
That who you establish things for is, but that's kupuna thinking, right? It's like how you approach situations, actions, and decisions in every aspect of life. You're always thinking about all of your children's children. Yeah. So when you make the decision, you want to make sure it puts them into a good position. And when we kind of speak about things in the Hawaiian Kingdom, a lot of people, I've been involved in the Aloha Party as like lead spokesperson of them. I've been in, these important rooms of these conversations of things taking place in international courts. And when we think about it, it's not that complicated. The trick Because you got all of these people who think and who have an allegiance to the U.S. regime. All of these people, a majority of the population, actually, 80% of the population, even Hawaiians, they're not really interested in us being independent. Because if we independent and the U.S. leaves, then what happened? Yeah?
What happened? What happened? What's gonna happen?
You know what's gonna happen, right?
We learn Mandarin. I just kidding. I'm kidding.
The Chinese come or the Russians come. People are afraid of that.
You know what drives me nuts when they say, when we say, America leave, and then the Americans say, oh yeah, then give us your iPhones and give us.
Stupid.
Take the fucking iPhone. Take the fucking.
You guys
thing.
didn't even make the iPhone. Give them back to Africa.
Yeah.
We don't even.
Yeah, so just assemble them.
Yeah.
Don't need them.
But you see, it's ignorant. It's small-minded. Because
Amen.
if you're thinking of things in international court, it's like, truthfully, the U.S. probably is not going to leave.
Yeah.
And that's okay. We need them to protect us. But you got to understand, Connor, you guys been doing this on our crown lands, paying $1 a year, Hawaiian, illegally, according to the laws of occupation. And if our only example in recent history is the payback the U.S. had to do for the people of Iraq, let's use them as a comparison of the processes of deoccupation. Because now, the U.S. military is still in Iraq, but not in charge of Iraq anymore, because they reinstated all the leadership in the government of Iraq.
Yes.
But they had to pay back rent for almost 30 years in Iraq. They had to pay back rent. Yeah? Why? Because they occupied it, they took everything over, and they had to fund the resources to rebuild it. Meaning, the U.S., if we take that as a comparison, the U.S. would have to do that for Hawaii 130 years.
Wow.
So you're talking about a back rent of like over $30 to $50 trillion, which they won't do, right? The U.S. is already in debt. It's collapsing as we speak. They're not going to do that. So what can we do?
They're too busy to pay Ukraine.
Yeah, too busy paying Ukraine and fighting everybody else's war. But you got to also understand, but everybody understand, is the U.S. is an empire, but it is disguised as a republic. It's an empire. It's like Rome. It takes over the world. That's the goal. And how it takes over is through military, just like Rome. Takes over through military posts. Yeah. How do you take over economy? You have an assassin to come into the economy to disrupt stuff. What does that look like? You paint a story of planes hitting the World Trade Center because the things in oil is not going to be in your favor anymore, giving you a reason to go in, to occupy, to control the resources. Yeah. So those parts come into play, which is part of the reason why it's also super risky in even having this conversation, because the importance of Hawaii on a global scale is not understood by many people. Hawaii plays a massive role in trade, in military outposts and positioning. If this kind of stuff happens and it's not done in the most intricate and intentional way, it could lead into a World War III. It could definitely lead into a world war, because Hawaii is that important. Why? Everybody wants Hawaii. When you have Hawaii, you control the entire Pacific Ocean. Anybody who passes through the Pacific needs to pay you. And the U.S. is here, right? And so that's billions and trillions of dollars that is being pulled out because the U.S. is economically and militarily in charge of Hawaii. You change that, the economic input and influence of the U.S. goes down tremendously. Yeah, which is dangerous. Because once you put Uncle Sam against one wall and he cannot pay his bills, he gonna begin lying, he gonna begin cheating, he gonna begin doing things to then put us in a situation that we are then in need of their protection. They'll pit somebody against us. That's why it's scary. If worse comes to worse, they can pit something against Russia or China to cause conflict on us. Then we're gonna need the U.S., cling to them, and there's ramifications for it. Here's the deal.
What do you think about, a few weeks ago they were saying that the most of the Kanaka Maoli don't live in Hawaii.
Yeah.
They live Oregon, Vegas,
Washington,
you name it.
Mm-hmm.
But not here. How does it even, how can even they justify it? How can they even think that this is okay? And I know none of them left here.
Because in the U.S., quote unquote, it's a free country. If you work hard and you make opportunity for yourself, then you can make it. That's the concept. Yeah, it's absent of culture. It's absent of honor. It's like every man for themselves. If you get opportunity, here's one thing that I can guarantee: that you're gonna pay taxes, and I'm gonna give you freedom. That's what it is, right? And so in like Hawaii situation, it doesn't take into account culture. It doesn't take into account language. It doesn't take into account homeland, because the U.S. is built on another man's garden. So it doesn't take those things into. All of those things are good, but it doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't make money. All those things are really, really, porno. But how is it gonna help us, right? And so I see that as one, a huge, unfortunate event and circumstance that us as Kanaka have to go through. Yeah. Two, education. If you can level up, Hawaiian, if you can get the right resources, Kanak, if you can bring the right people together, Hawaiian, if you get consciousness and ideas and you know how to mobilize and to actualize and then employ and empower our people to start business, to know how to invest, yeah, to position yourself economically so you and your family wins. That's one of the biggest issues in the Hawaiian community. There's good emotional intelligence at times, but our economic intelligence is very low.
Yeah, bro.
Very low.
I just started following this guy. I forget his name. I followed him fucking thing like this morning when I was on the toilet. But there's a brother in fucking Big Island who is a real estate investor. Or not investor, real estate broker.
Yeah, who's this?
Oh, fuck. I forget his name, bro.
So he said Big Island or Maui?
Big Island. And he's from Puna. That's what I do remember. But he so basically what he does is community funding, bro. If you like
that's Max Gaines.
Yes, Max Gaines.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like,
So yeah, that so has this other good brother, which he's super. There's a handful of Kanaka who is in the real estate investing game, who is providing resources to help our people. It was the big inspiration of kicking off the Ho'oulu conference. Our Ho'oulu conference is going to be in March, I believe, here. So this is a big problem, economic intelligence, right? I don't fucking look at the problem for too long, Hawaii. I solution-oriented thinking, Hawaii. Yeah. Hey, you get all these brothers making millions of dollars, right? You get these guys resources, right? They get consciousness. If they like help the people, let's create a platform to help them. Yeah. Let's have plenty business conferences in Hawaii. No conferences on economic prosperity for Hawaiian people. No conferences. Yeah, there's there's cultural conferences, speaking of different things, but I'm talking about like to the point. This is the strategy.
Hands-on.
This is how you make it. Here's how we can do it. I'm gonna mentor you on it. Yeah, and then you automate it, because you gotta automate everything because there's too much people to help, too much. So there has to be systems before you do anything. So our whole conference is based on bringing these Kama'aina and Kanaka who believe in this unified vision of a future of Hawaiian prosperity, who are experts in stock trading, who are experts in forex trading. A good brother of mine who is a keynote speaker and who's a lead sponsor of the whole Ulu conference. He's a pro football player in Japan. He makes $150,000 a month, yeah, on autopilot, 150 grand a month. Why? He knows what he's doing. He got the tools. He works 3 hours a week, $150,000 a month. It's all leverage, yeah. And so if you cannot bring that into the Hawaiian household, and we're not telling you, Bob, hey, Bob, you're gonna make $150,000 a month, but how much you get paid? Oh, bro. After taxes, bro. After child support, bro. I bring home $3,000 a month. Okay, Hawaiian. Here's our first goal. Okay? Head into the markets. You learn this for 3 months. Let's apply yourself with other people's money. You don't gotta trade your own money. If you're trading $1,000 account, you're making 8% a month. You're making what? $80 a month, Kana. And you're using your own money. How about use other people's money, $200,000, make 8% on top of that, you make $16,000 a month.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more. You know, when I moved over here, I worked.
Talk about it.
I got paid under the table.
He was an immigrant.
Yeah. I thought I'm doing
Yeah,
a good thing. You know, I thought like I'm doing a good thing, and then I came and I wanted to buy a car, and I came with cash, and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I came with $12,000 cash to buy a car. And he looked at me and said, "You cannot be here with $12,000 cash. There needs to be like justification how you have the cash, because if it's over 10,000, they gotta register and they gotta feds and they gotta this." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" So this guy tell me, "Take this money and run because I have to call the fucking I gotta let someone know."
That's economic enslavement.
And
though.
I didn't know.
It's not freedom.
But I didn't know.
You didn't know, yeah.
So once I started to be like, okay, shit, now I gotta do everything, like pay my taxes, and then you can use the system once you participate in the system.
Yes.
But if you
don't participate,
you cannot take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So you gotta choose your battle.
So it's not really a free country. It's a free country in the boundaries.
For sure. But again, because of those rules and regulations, if you want to play with the big guys,
you gotta know how to play the game.
You gotta play the game.
You gotta play the game. And be an NFL football player.
And nobody.
Let's go.
But nobody told me. Nobody told me. So I thought I'm smart.
Yeah.
But once you have cash, you cannot do nothing. You cannot do nothing.
And pretty soon, because of the introduction of BRICS, all cash, guys, this passed in almost every state. In the next year, everything is going to be cashless. There isn't going to be any cash on the streets anymore. Yeah, which a lot of people listening, you guys gotta realize. Yeah, like because the cash has no power anymore. It's not oil backed. Yeah, all these other countries in BRICS excluded the United States because the U.S. dollar has no power, and they don't want to involve the U.S. in anything because the U.S. can't pay their debts. And they act as a bouncer on every opportunity, and they push you out through military force. So these bigger countries, all the Brazils and the Russias and the Chinas, the Indias, these bigger countries who have a bigger population than the U.S. combined, they're more powerful. The New World Order now is not the U.S. But this has taken a long time to get to this point. These countries needed to make sure that.
So you believe in cryptocurrency? They're going to be like United States cryptocurrency.
It's already happening.
It's already
happening. It's just a digital currency that's not fiat paper.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, in the bank, only digital numbers, Hawaiian.
Yeah.
You can change the digital number like this.
If you go right now and you're going to ask for take out the money, they're going to be like, "Oh, you cannot.
Yeah.
You got to give us 2 weeks or whatever."
But it's how banks work, right? Because the customers give us we give them all of our money. They take that and they have a team of investors in Forex and in stocks and in options. They trade it, like they make 18% off of the money. The bank gets rich and they give you less than 0.5%. That's how the banks make money, right? And so if we knew that we can become our own bank and not hold all of our money into the banks, but hold it into a life insurance policy. You hold your money in a life insurance policy because there's an investment account connected to the life insurance policy while you're insured for $150,000. You keep your money there because it gets 8% each year. It's growing. It's not getting less than 0.5%. And you got access to it in any time. And if you die, then the people in your family get $350,000 immediately. That's one of the best investments anybody's able to make. But you add a layer to that and have a business making money, put that money into a business trust, put that money into a family trust, and now you take that money and insure everybody in your family. And then you have investment accounts connected to it, you liquidate, and you buy property. That's how Trump that's how Trump does it.
I just learned that. They told me.
That's how all these fuckers do it.
They told me, "Oh, you don't have your house in a trust." I'm like, "No."
You put it in a trust, bro. Because if anything happens to you, they're going to take your house.
Yeah. How did I say, what? They're like, yeah, because your kids are like young. Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you die tomorrow,
You're done. They cannot pay it.
The state gonna have it until they're 18 and whatnot.
You put it into a trust.
And
It's
they-
irrevocable and
and-
protected.
And in the meantime, the state
The state's making money.
can do whatever.
Yeah.
I'm
They
like,
do anything
what
with
the
your pocket. Economic intelligence. I never knew this stuff, Hawaiian. I had to talk to millionaires, ask them, how do they make their money? And they're like, Bada, all strategy. And it's actually not hard. It's actually not difficult. It's just understanding. This is why I'm like, I went to St. Louis for a reason. Because I'm able to now put these things together in my own mind that I learned with tools that I got in my schooling. Yeah. If I wasn't exposed to that information early on in school, I was one of 18 students picked to have a leadership cohort with Dean Pitchford. Dean Pitchford is a screenwriter and lead producer for Footloose. Yeah. Footloose. Footloose. Kick off the Sunday shoes.
Oh,
Yeah. But he's a St. Louis grad. He's a St. Louis grad, Dean
Wow.
Pitchford. So he came and picked 3 people from every grade to do a leadership cohort with. And in that leadership cohort, he taught us, all the tools and strategies on how to build a dream life. Yeah. On how to take an idea, how to map a plan, how to organize around it, and how to manifest it, and then organize it on the back end so that it lasts. He taught us that when I was a freshman. Yeah. These tools now come into play for me now. Because if I wasn't exposed to that, I wouldn't know how to take my massive dreams, put them on paper, and make them actionable. I wouldn't know how. Yeah.
So how can we make that accessible? How can we make that reachable for everybody in Hawaii?
Yes. So here's what we got going on. I'm going to let you guys in on a little bit of our plans. You know, with everything that's been taking place with like the shootings and the schooling, bro, we see plenty opportunity because in crisis comes massive opportunity, right? Which could be used for the positive if it's in the right hands, could be used for the negative if it's not. Yeah. I think that if we have the right people involved, they can be used for the benefit of Kanaka. With everything happening in Maui, this is a prime time, to build our people and to hully a system that needs to be hullied. In whatever way that is. It doesn't mean to overthrow the government right now. It may come in the future. But I'm saying that this is a great time to take resources the U.S. is giving to us and to mobilize in not just putting it into houses only, put it into educational training systems to develop entrepreneurs and develop investors. Develop them. Because when you teach them when they're 18 how to do this, they're going to grow up in their 30s, they're already going to be multimillionaires with 150 acres of land in Hawaii, and they know how to organize people to farm and to fish. You can reinstate the Ahupua'a system in 1 to 2 generations. Yeah. And so I'm a big fan of online courses if you make it accessible. Right? So in all the things that's been happening in schools and shootings, people bringing in guns, they need a leadership program. So what I'm doing right now is I'm developing a leadership program that is going to be an after-school program. It's an online course with all of the students where the teachers who choose to be a part of this online program is going to get an incentive, to teach this. I host the teachers and train the teachers on how to teach this program. And we begin to instate this program in an after-school program, 1 hour, 3 days a week for 8 to 10 weeks. Yeah. And then it ends on an immersive experience and retreat that is leadership founded for all of these students from these different schools to come together. 300, 400, 500 students come together and we have a retreat and we go over leadership transformation, and then we take these students and put them in leadership positions in their schools. Yeah. That's the
I
shit
salute
that's
you.
needed. Yeah, but but that's the shit that's needed.
That's
But
what it takes.
See that, but it doesn't always take funding. A lot of our people say, "Bah, I gotta get the funding before doing." Fuck them, build them, then pitch them. Build them first, Hawaiian. Bruh, in the movie The Field of Dreams, build it and they will come. Build the bug, Hawaiian. But you see, everybody fucking need to get paid first, Hawaiian. Negative. Yeah. So these but you see, that infrastructure can be taken in doing anything, in teaching people culture. Like we're building out an online course right now to introduce next year. It's the first of its kind. It's like our Pono Cellular course is the first of its kind. Our Pono Cellular course is teaching people that are not from Hawaii, who are not Kanaka, who haven't been raised in a Hawaiian history class, who haven't learned Hawaiian cultural values, and how to live in Hawaii effectively and aligned with Hawaiian cultural principles. That's a huge need. 80% of our population is non-Kanaka. When's the last Hawaiian history class you took? When you was 8th grade? Hawaiian people need a refresher. Times have changed. So I created a course that's $250, a tuition fee, and there's resources and bonuses and playlists, everything involved in it. And people come into a live course once a week for 1 month, 2.5 hours, and we lay down for them the mo'olelo of our people and go over the hardest issues of our people.
Yeah.
But I don't always want, aim to just help people from the outside. I want to help Kanaka. And, to kind of speak on the thing of like, wait, over half of our population is not living in Hawaii. So what happens when these people leave out of Hawaii? They leave because of economic opportunity. It's cheaper cost of living in Las Vegas. I freaking lived in Las Vegas for 2 months. Wow, Las Vegas is a spot. I love Vegas. Yeah, it's crazy for a lot of people. The quality of water is not good. The quality of air sometimes is not good. But the economic opportunity is fucking awesome. And the cost of living is awesome. Yeah, and the food cost is awesome. Wow, beautiful. Yeah, but in what cost? You're not talking all of Hawaii. You're not in Hawaiian spaces. Have no access to actually cultural spaces to be Kanaka. Yeah. Eventually, you raise your kids in that environment, and your kids forget their Hawaiian.
Yeah, no more vibration. Huh?
It doesn't more the mana. It's not there. Yeah.
But as a parent, they don't see the Kanaka advantage. They see, I need to feed my fucking kids.
Yeah, because
I need to have a job that I can feed my kids. I need to send them to school. I need to get them good education.
Yeah.
They don't have that in their, when they do their due diligence, they don't have the Kanaka Hawaiian.
Yeah.
They need to feed their fucking kids.
100%. Right?
And this is what matters.
Yeah, it does. So,
and when they need to buy a fucking real estate over here.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
They cannot even, for 400,000, they cannot even buy not one fucking hala in Kalihi.
A freaking hut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Apartment. Yeah.
But 400,000 back
in Las
in
Vegas,
Vegas, they're like big dollars. They're like, go whoop whoop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So they have to choose their battles.
It's cultural values that are absent, though, right?
But you can't blame them. You can't blame them.
You cannot blame. It's a part of the system.
It's part of the system.
It's a part of the system.
So if the government would understand that and appreciate that and understand that using this land to save America, to have all their bases over here, all the military over here, they need to pay their dues.
Yes.
They need to pay the Kanaka so they can live Vegas style in Hawaii.
It's not what Romans do, though.
Yeah, well, fuck the Romans.
It's not what Romans do, though. But so to kind of,
we're gonna get shot down.
Hey, it's all good. Hey, bro, it's literally a part of the system, and it comes down to the emptiness of cultural values. It's not present in the household because parents who left, they had to leave because of economic reasons, but staying in Hawaii, it wasn't as important to them in comparison to the economic,
I don't agree.
To economic position. Or
it was important to them, but they couldn't choose. They chose kids.
Yeah, they chose kids.
They chose their.
So there's responsibility involved in that, then, right? There's responsibility. So choose to have to make decisions that is more clear, so you know that when you have kids, it's not coming into a trap.
Well, I look, in my eyes, when a responsible parent, I have to disagree with what you said, because if a responsible parent says, look, 400,000 over here, we get a small 1-bedroom apartment, and we're a family of 5. We have a 2-bedroom apartment.
Of course, yeah.
In Vegas, for 400,000, we have a house. We have a pool. We have 3 bedrooms. Each kid has a bedroom. We're gonna go send them to school. I choose my kids versus Hawaii.
Yes.
Because I love my kids.
Of course.
And I want to set them up for success. I want to give them the best I can.
Of course, 100%.
So I have to choose. You, the government, America, put me in that spot.
Yeah.
I didn't choose to be in that spot.
Yeah.
I would prefer to be here with all my family, friends, family members, neighbors. I grew up in here. I know every spot in here. I want to be
I don't know.
here.
That's weird for me, though. Like, imagine, like, okay, you send them to Vegas, right? And they grow up with their friends in their classrooms and their schoolmates, and they're all fucking bumping Cardi B, young
At what
stripper
cost,
music,
right?
Like, for that. But over here, like, I'm just referring back to when I grew up, like, all Hawaiian music. Everything was very aloha-oriented. No matter how poor we was broke as fuck. Everybody around us always had care whenever there's an issue. Oh, come eat, or oh, you guys need this. Oh, okay, hey, you can come help with this.
But things have changed, bro.
And that's the shitty part, right? Like, now fuckers are getting shot in, from high school ages, and that's where I'm like super heartbroken, because
also
I
listen-
wanted my kid to grow up the
look
way
at the-
I grew up.
Look at the music that we're listening to, right? If you're talking about hip hop, they're talking about money, they're talking about bitches, they're talking about hotels, they're talking about Lambos.
You don't always got to be talking about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's the consciousness, right? And so for
Who is talking about doing good? Show me one rapper. Show me one rapper that talks about doing good.
Oh, I got one guy. Well, have two guys. The first one, his name is Brother La Russell. He's doing pretty good stuff, Brother La Russell. He's an independent artist. He introduced his albums on a platform that is for independent artists, that people can pay for his album from $1 to $1,000. Yeah.
But the issue is because I'm, independent artist
course.
myself,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well as you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
the issue is we're not in we're in the pipeline of the feeding of the music. Like, when kids go to school, ain't nobody fucking look into their homie like, hey, you gotta check out La Russell, bro. They're over here like, hey, fuck, you heard that new NBA young boy, bro? Bra bra bum bum dead. Yeah, bra bra bum bum dead.
Yeah,
Boom,
yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's because they're constantly fed it on their timelines. On their fucking screens,
And you know
On
what?
the radio
and you know why I'm you know I'm a big fan of Steezy. You know I look up to fucking Steezy. You know when I look to him, I see a fucking warrior, because when he sings, when he raps about things,
truth.
Truth.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a big fan, and I will always follow this motherfucker, because he thinks he sings, him and his crew, they sing about true things. And they address the adversity.
And the
they
real issues,
address
the real issues.
the real issues.
Yes, the
you know
core
what I mean?
of hip-hop.
Did you
Core of
ever
hip-hop.
hear him sing about fucking
course.
pussy and fucking
No,
money
negative.
and fucking doing blow? No, fuck that.
On his freestyle, maybe.
Stay after 2014.
Stay out the 24. Yeah.
No, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Bro, I totally
So he leads the people to the right direction
Yes.
in his form of art. In
art,
the way he
art,
sings,
yes.
but he brings up the questions and the adversity.
Yeah.
If you only sing about Lambos, cocaine, bitches, pussy, it's hard, man. It's like
Bro,
you cannot guide the people to that.
had this spiritual teacher who was like, every person is able to hold a knife. The power is not in the knife. Because this knife can either peel you an orange or cut your throat. The consciousness is what controls the knife, right? So as hip-hop, as music, the consciousness, again, is what flows it. Wherever a person is at is what they're going to produce. Unfortunately, we live in a world that loves to feed on the animal self. They love to feed on the animal self. It's good.
It's also being fed to us.
It's fed to us.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You gotta-
both.
but I
It's
think-
coming out. It's coming out of
Yeah.
our training. Yeah.
There's this thing that I learned. My buddy Spooks taught me, and he was like, "Bruh, it's a psychological term called negativity bias." Okay, he says, and when you look, I looked it up, and basically it says, okay, imagine yourself walking in a jungle, and you see one lion. Now, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna continue walking, or are you gonna evade the lion? Right? Because your first thought is like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I could fucking get eaten.
Yeah.
Right? Why do you think like that? Because you want to survive. You
Yes.
don't want to fucking die. So you go immediately to the most negative possibility
Yes.
for survival.
Yes.
Now, what has translated from back then when we were trying to survive as humans never went away till now.
Yes.
So we immediately lean to the negative.
Yeah, negative.
Right?
Yeah.
We can spread love 100 times, and somebody can give you love 100 times. The one time you fuck up.
Yeah, it's what they remember for.
They remember that.
Yeah.
Right?
100 years. Yeah.
It's so mental, bro. And they feed us that all the time. Everything's negative.
Agreed, bro.
And humans are so easy to accept it and fucking...
So it takes training, right?
Yep.
Like in the face.
Yeah,
like right, it takes education.
Yeah.
Like being put in a situation where you still have to choose the positive. As best, it's not, kind of thing people in spiritual communities say, but that's like spiritual kind of high states of, no, it's being able to look at the negative, to see the negative, but to ultimately ensure that the spirit leads you into a way that is productive, right? And so in its correlation of our people who are leaving Hawaii, I am all for it if people choose to do that, if they maintain rooted in their intention to one day return. As long as they choose to one day return back home. That's the only thing we ask.
But every interview with every person that left Hawaii, everybody said they want to come back.
Yeah. No,
everybody
you
said they
keep
love
that
Hawaii.
strong. You keep that strong. But it's high hopes and high wishes if you don't have a strategy for it. Yeah. Right? But, because...
But they get comfortable because they see, man,
Of course.
I live in a fucking mansion for $400,000, or I can live in a two-bedroom apartment in Kalihi.
Yeah. So has a couple
Choose
options,
your battles.
Right? So has a couple options, right? To choose to either, bro, I tell people this all the time. If you come into an environment, there's either three things that happen. It's either you choose to be in that environment and to adapt. You leave the environment, or you influence the environment to change around you. Mm-hmm. Yeah? And so I see it as people being in Hawaii, you can either leave or you can stay and be inside an economic space that is not good for you and just freaking choose to actually live in this economic state that you've always been at, or you fucking level up and you change it. Yeah. I see it as, hey, the one option for me at least. I can definitely and have intentions in the future to be able to pick up a place in Colorado, to pick up a place in Florida, pick up a place in Las Vegas.
Let me share with you a real quick story that just happened yesterday. Yesterday I came and I parked my car and I see one of my employees runs out and calls security. And once I saw them call security for my restaurant, I'm like, whoa, yo, what's going on? So I run inside and I see a houseless person, a female. You can see she's completely nuts. Mm-hmm. And she wanted to get a tea and she didn't want to pay. And I go in and I see her and I say, ma'am, you have to leave, you have to pay for your drink. And then she tells me, John, you remember me? Oh. I'm Susie. I'm like, I don't know you. Get the fuck out of my store. I don't know what you're talking about. And she said, I remember you. We used to work the street together in Kalakaua. I used to work for Maui Divers. I used to sell pearls. Used to work right next to me, sell wind chimes. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, I'm Susie. I used to be big. I used to be this and that. And she started to tell me, you're still friends with Giovanni. And she starts to tell me the people that used to work with me. And I'm like, oh, shit. She does know me. And then look at her. And she had a tattoo on her eyebrow. And back then, she never had one tattoo in her eyebrow. And back then, she was...
She's bigger.
She was overweight. And right now, she was super thin. That's why I didn't recognize her. And she had long hair. But now, when I saw her yesterday, she had her hair like cut up, like you crazy kind.
Yeah.
And then it dawned on me, I was working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week to try to make it. Mm-hmm. No family, no friends, no nothing. Me and my wife gotta work. We have nothing else for do. For her, she was pregnant back then. And she had a boyfriend, baby daddy, not a husband, who left her. She had a son. He's 13 right now. And she got into ice. And I was telling her, like, straight up, like, are you doing drugs? She's like, yeah. I'm like, what'd you do? You do ice? She's like, yeah, I do ice here and there, but more spiritual. I'm like, fuck, ice. Ice is not spiritual.
Well, I mean,
Like,
it's a confused way, but it is a way.
yeah, what are you talking about? And then I realized she didn't have the right guidance.
100%.
She didn't have. I came here with pressure to do good and be good. She only had pressure to do bad. Her environment, the people around her, it was just to do drugs and get fucked up.
Yeah.
It feels so sad that we both started 13 years ago. I met her 13 years ago in 2000. I think, 13 years ago, because her son is 13 years old. And it was hard for me to see it, but I realized that they don't have the right support. They don't have the right support. They don't have the right guidance.
Or just a person to hug.
Yeah.
In hard times, because when people hit hard times, usually each person has a mechanism that kicks on in them on how to cope with how they're feeling. If you don't have the right tools, resources, or even just a person to listen to you and to hug, or if you don't have any spiritual connection, just to have a place to go to express yourself, then that mana begins to implode upon you if not expressed.
So tell me, where can we, if whoever is watching this podcast, where can we send people to get help, to find the mana, to find the Hawaiian support, to find people that really care, that want to take him out of that misery, whether it's financial, mental, anything? Where can we send them? What association, what nonprofit, what place can we send those people to get the right help?
So this is, the answer is multi-layered, because it really depends on where the person is at. Yeah, because it's a double-edged sword with Hawaiians, because a lot of our people are proud people and don't like to ask for help. Yeah, that's just a part of our cultural norm. Yeah, if you do need help, I would first encourage, because I also do this, so I just speak from experience, that even before choosing to head to a clinic or anything, try to do your best to just get reconnected to the Aina. Spend time in the Aina and to fast and pray. Because if you look at scripture, if you look at spiritual literature, a lot of the time spiritual teachers would always encourage people to not eat and to fast, like to stop all consumption, and to go out into the land. And so, like, in our earlier part of our conversation, it's what put me into this path and imprinted it in me was actually, I was in a turning point in my life, and I chose to just go on a fast for 3 weeks. I ate no food for 3 weeks.
No shit.
For 3 weeks.
Steezy.
Hey, I did 10 days, bro. I did the master cleanse, so not a real fast.
Yeah.
But 3 weeks.
By 3 weeks.
That's heavy.
Bro, I went from almost 200 pounds to 145 pounds in 3 weeks, bro.
Wow.
But my mana, my consciousness, as clear as it's ever been in my life. I knew now how come in scripture they say to pray and to fast, because look at the story of the Messiah. Before he can even go into his ministry, what? He had to go into the desert. 40 days, kanaka, no food. Akua provide for you. Trust. Go. Why? Because Akua needed to test his flesh, because the weight he was going to carry of the world on him, his spirit could handle, But he needed to make sure that the flesh could handle. So if he's proposed with one prostitute who come to him, or he proposed by all these external people trying to influence him to make behaviors, he choose Akua because his mana is bulletproof. There's not many people that can do that. So if people are looking for spiritual help and like spiritual guidance, this is the first time in human existence that you have access to as much information as the biggest leaders on the planet.
True.
Go on YouTube and look at spiritual teachings. Listen. Just begin putting new information in your mind. If you need a therapist, you can get a therapist. For people who don't have healthcare insurance, they get hard time.
Yeah. These words are good, bro. When you watch these videos, they're spells. You know what I mean? Words are always spells, right? Whatever you say.
Yeah, they have an influence on you.
Yeah. So when you start hearing those kinds of words constantly in your system, you listen to guys like Kala or whoever, the right words will start to cleanse out all that negative imprint that's been in you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I feel like. And,
yes.
Quick question. I know we've been on for a long time.
It's okay, yeah.
Elijah.
Yes.
The name.
Elijah.
What is that from?
Oh,
so because
the prophet Elijah.
Yeah, so spells, right? Like, so were your parents aware? Was this something? Because I named my daughter Irie because I just wanted my child to be happy and
good.
Enjoy this life.
Yes,
Power,
power
and positivity.
And love,
just ultimate love.
Yeah.
So, Elijah, did they know you were gonna be like this?
Bruh, who named me Elijah, which the Hebrew name is Eliyahu. Is our Tutuhine. Yeah, that's my mom's mom. She passed away when I was 4 years old. She was the spiritual cornerstone of our family. I'm my grandma. And she's an Aumakua. It's been confirmed that she is kind of like a guardian angel over all of our family. There's been mediums that I pick up people in Uber sometimes, but people that really tuned in, kind of they go, I don't know if you think I weird or something, but get one beautiful Hawaiian lady who kind of stay inside the passenger seat with you, and she just hanging out and she chilling and go, that's my grandma, bro. She always spending time with me.
Wow.
No, she always spending time with me. She named me Elijah because of all the figures in the Bible. It was her favorite guy because of his story. And when you think of it, there is only two guys who went into heaven alive in scripture. That's Enoch and Elijah.
Yeah.
Till
this day, all the Jews, when we have our ceremony for Elijah, Eliyahu Hanavi, which is Eliyahu the Messiah, we leave a glass with a little bit. We leave a little bit of glass with wine. The blessed wine. And we leave the door open when we celebrate Passover.
Yes.
Just to, maybe he gonna come and drink the wine. Wow. So each and every apartment, you're gonna go in a building. All the doors are open. There's an empty chair and a glass of wine
on it.
Wow.
You see.
It's just because of Elijah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it was the truest Messiah.
And in his time, he was the prophet of Israel in the time of King Ahab. And King Ahab, he was close to Akua, but his queen, Jezebel, she wasn't real nuts. She wouldn't pull King Ahab away from Akua and turned the people of Israel against God.
Wow.
But only Eliyahu. He was the only one. He went go run into the Aina Hawaii. Everybody was after him, but he escaped Kanaka. He was like, these guys gonna kill me, Kanaka. I gotta go trust in Akua. He go run into the Mauna Hawaii. He go sit in the Mauna a long time, but until everybody started calling off. And then he came back, and he's in the temple, and King Ahab had put a commission to get his head. He came out. He just talk to the king. He told the king, all of your prophets, I put them all to the test. Whose God is stronger? Yeah, and they all come into the temple. 100 priests and prophets of his wife come inside Kanaka, and he over here by himself, just sitting drinking his ave, looking at these burgers. Whoever is able to have was the logs, if I'm not mistaken, had been in the middle of the temple. whoever could pray to have the Spirit of God to come down and to take all of these logs into flames, his God is the one that reigns supreme. 100 freaking priests, bro. They're praying, bro. Praying for days, bro. And Elijah killing, bro. He's chilling over there laughing. Like, these guys, they just wait. They just wait. I've been fasting for 3 years, Hawaii. I get so much mana. Aku right? But I'm going to just gonna go like this, Hawaii. Aku going to set on my blaze. These guys praying for almost a week, but nothing happened. He come up. He look at King Ahab. He prayed to Akua. Hawaii, 10 minutes. Shapa! But not only that, he bring water. He put water on the logs. He taunt them. Put water, soak them, Hawaii. Akua come, swallow them up all with on flame. And he looked to Ahab, he go, mahalo ki akua. Mahalo ki akua. Yeah. Nice. And so this is the concepts of where the power of names is like super important. Yeah. But it's a little bit tricky if you named after a person, because there's karma connected to it.
Yeah.
There's karma connected to it, right? And so it depends on who you're named after, right? Say if I had an uncle who was Elijah, and he wasn't too good of a guy, and I was named after him, different mana than being able to have our tutu say that who I'm naming you after is not any other Elijah, after this Elijah. I name you after that, Hoy. Yeah.
My name is Jonathan, which is basically means Yehonatan in Hebrew, which is Jehovah, God, Natan, gave.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
God gave me to the world.
Yeah.
What?
And I'm
A
not
God-given man.
Oh, I never even know that, bro.
word. And it's not after nobody, no uncle, no nothing. Just Akua, ba.
Shit, that's heavy. I didn't know
You
that.
see, but the power. But you see, even our kupuna really knew the power of names, bro. And so this is why, like in every increment of life, like, you know, speaking of youth and like healing them, to implement initiations into the lives of our youth, because initiations gives them an event to prepare for, to take them into the next stage of life. Yeah. In names, in Hawaii, in these stages of his life or her life as an ali'i, had the kahunas came together to add to his name, to add to the name. So in Kamehameha's instance, he was born with just one name, Paea.
Yeah.
He born Paea. But when you look at his full name as Kamehameha, it's like 3 sentences long. Because throughout the instances of his life and these events, it's adding mana into the future of his next stage of his life on who he's going to become, right? And so, like, our son, he's Elijah Kala McShane II, but he has a whole other name that is going to be prepared for him for stages of his life to be given to him.
Man.
Yeah. Because the mana on it, yeah. So these are the old ancient arts that's been lost in human civilization, that's not really practiced in all cultures now.
Yeah. People naming their kids Wheezy
'Cause,
after Lil Wayne.
What are you doing, guys? What are you doing, you know?
Trips.
Yeah, bro.
So, look, we don't have much more time, but I have to ask you, like, a couple of things.
Yes.
I just want to address...
A speed round.
Yeah, I want to address a little bit of Lahaina.
Yes.
I want to address reopening Lahaina on October 8th. And what's your opinion on tourism and the power that gives outside corporations? Just give me a little bit of your insight, because I love what you stand for.
Hey, bro, appreciate you, bro. So things in Lahaina, bro, you know, it's been a journey. I think all we can do as a people is come together, is to think, have good consciousness and keep stuff pono, have healing process, which is important. But of course, as we heal, there is absolutely a need for an initiative to rebuild and to reinstate all the mana of our people and of the Aina. All of that should be in the hands of the people of Maui.
So what do you think about reopening on October 8th?
I think it's common sense.
common sense for
I think it's common sense of
positive
the
or negative?
Negative.
Negative.
I think it's I think it's common sense that it's too early. Come on.
Too early.
But
Word.
But if you're in leadership, also thinking about the economy, I can understand, right? That there's a potential that opening up is a positive to help things.
Let me ask you a
on.
question. When you're talking about economy, will Josh Green go serve the people?
Of course not.
No. So he's basically asked the people that lost their house, their people, their friends, their family
He
members,
says
their
that
neighbors.
he did. He says that he talked to them.
But I actually did my research, and I was I met with a lot of people from Maui, and I asked them, I want to know the truth. Were you invited? Were you incorporated? Everybody talks about that meeting. There were the 200 people.
Yeah.
That meeting at Ritz-Carlton. So it was mainly people from the hotels,
And
you
who
know,
had
you know,
businesses, people who had
housekeeping.
businesses.
You know, the manager of housekeeping, manager of
Heads.
heads of this, head of that.
Yeah.
The hotels, the owner of this restaurant, the owner of this.
Yeah.
But not the
people.
person that cleans the room.
Yeah.
Not the person that is the lifeguard at the pool.
Yes.
Not the person that serves the fucking
course.
French toast in the morning.
Yeah.
To those people, they never talk.
Yeah.
They didn't talk to the people that are activists.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't talk to activists, who are you talking to?
Yeah, of course.
Because the activists are the one that taking the idea.
Yeah.
You know, the best for the people.
Yeah.
Those are the activists.
Yeah.
They weren't invited.
Yes.
And this drives me nuts. It bothers me. It bothers me from within. You know, I don't feel that this is the right way to do it. And the fact that he says, "Oh, we talked to 200 people and 90% said yes." Who are those 90? Well, who are those 90%? You're talking about 180 people. Show me them.
Yeah,
I want to show them. I want to see them with my own eyes, because the people that wanted to get in that Ritz-Carlton meeting, they weren't let in.
Yeah. Agreed.
And that's hurt my feelings, you know. And I'm not from here. I'm not Kanaka, Namaoli, no nothing. It's just pure,
Just being a good human.
just being a good human.
Yeah, just being a good human.
How can you expect from them being like, "Oh, aloha, hey, good morning, how are you? Let me do your bed," when they lost everything they have?
Of course.
And you know, the people that work in housekeeping, for 30 years, they've been told, I'm so sorry, but we have to reopen. You know, the hotel needs to reopen. We have mortgages, we have land to pay, you know, like fees that they have to pay. We have to reopen.
Yes.
I understand if you don't want to do it, I just have to take someone else.
Yeah.
And that person worked there for 30 years.
Of course.
30 years.
Course,
Invest everything they have.
Yeah.
And now they expect them to be like all, ha 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 ha. It's impossible.
Yeah.
And I just, I feel like we're being put in a place where it's like a test.
It's
It's a test.
Yeah.
Will we bend to the Americanization and just do whatever they want to keep the hotels going? Or will we stand our grounds and say, nah, it's not going to happen? Because I know what Josh Green wants. I know what the higher ups wants, the good for everybody.
Yeah.
They say it's good for everybody. We don't know what's good for us.
Yes, agreed.
They know what's good for us.
Yeah. It's a conversation that that I believe it's too early to be had. Only because of what you just stated. At first, the community input was kind of absent. There was plenty of community input in these past 2 weeks. You know, had huge meetings with 300, 400, 500 Kanaka who came to really speak on behalf. And this is not only just Kanaka Maoli. This is people who are Filipino, you know, who have been living in Lahaina for 100 years. His family's been there for 100 years, right? And but you see, again, our economic interdependence on tourism in its current state is unhealthy. But I also understand the economic need. So how are we able to fill the economic need in another way? Is that possible? So it just had news today. I seen it on top Instagram, on the Instagram of Kanialaing, and he put out that the Congress had just approved a actually stipend in terms of a fund for, I think it's $18 billion for specifically things in Maui, which could be utilized to equalize and to mitigate the businesses and the impact of businesses, specifically the hotels.
Of course.
'Cause it's the hotels pushing this stuff.
Of
right?
course.
It's the hotels pushing this stuff. Which, hey, bruh, I'm not an advocate of our current state of tourism. I am an advocate for healthy tourism that is Hawaiian led through cultural values. Absolutely.
Amen.
And that is not really fully even existing right now, right? That is a big kanak. You talking about opportunity. All my Hawaiians out there listening to me, kanaka, I don't care if you don't like tourism Hawaiian. Okay? If you can position yourself correctly and start a business that is pono, that is in alignment to Hawaiian cultural values, and you feed all of your resources in tourism to helping our people in the Hawaiian community to build, it can be used as leverage. Not to be actually stay. The intention is 50 years from now, is to take our economic input of being tourism from like 30% to 15%. But for that to happen, it's gonna take like 50 years. We've been so dependent on it for such a long time. There's a need for economic shift into agriculture, into different areas of business, so that our dependency is not on the military and tourism, because those are almost equal. Like the military economic input and tourism is like almost equal. They're huge. Yeah. And so if you cut one leg, the other leg Hawaiian, you can be IHOP kanaka. IHOP. Okay, IHOP Hawaiian. Yeah. And so what's the solution? Hawaiians mobilized. And this not in one activist way, innovative way. In 3 months, a co-founder and me, who is a good bud of mine, is going to be introducing the first Hawaiian-owned tourism app that is a fully educational app on how to visit Hawaii. We're already in place in conversations, putting our content on Hawaiian Airlines. We're getting stuff in place, but it's also a booking platform and a business incubator for Hawaiian businesses to get into tourism.
Word.
Automated, Hawaiian, automated, right? So that these businesses who are not in alignment to Hawaiian culture values, we will make sure people around the world know that they're not about Hawaiian culture values. Because if people want to come to Hawaii correctly, then let's give them a portal to come to Hawaii correctly, and let's help them to see what coming to Hawaii incorrectly looks like.
Yeah.
Genius.
So if they come and see, all you gotta do, Karaka, is get this app on your phone, Hawaii. You get all the education about how to travel to Hawaii ethically and responsibly. But not only that, you can plan your entire trip right on top of our app.
Oh, beautiful. And what, you guys got a name for the app? Is it How For Not Get Slapped?
No.
Not yet.
Already there, bro. Okay. So here is the logo. Okay, for Namoku is the name.
Namoku.
Which in Olelo, Hawaii is the islands.
Yeah.
Is the islands. Has a full commercial that is in the process of being put out. The two of us have been working on this for about a year since at the ending of COVID, because it's been such the biggest need. People are looking for it. I boomed on TikTok because of the need of people actually knowing how to come to Hawaii correctly.
Yes.
In tourism, yeah. And so I seen that massive need. I have a team of app developers who's already been in place.
Let's do
We're
it.
innovative. We have content, and all we need now, which is already in place, is we're putting all of these Hawaiian-owned businesses on our apps, and then being able to create a pipeline of training for these companies that are already in place. If you want to get put on our app, you have to go through a Hawaiian cultural training in order to get into our app.
Word.
And we will promote the hell out of you, because people are going to know what this app is, because we're going to get funding to make this the biggest freaking tourism app in Hawaii, period. But it's the island, so it's not limited to Hawaii. Our stage 3 is to expand into Tahiti, is to expand into Aotearoa, is to go to the islands of Polynesia. So when
Nice.
people come to Hawaii, they get to learn about Hawaii, and when they go to Aotearoa. And we also help our businesses to know how to position themselves effectively. So Hawaiian cultural practitioners, because there seems a common thing, Hawaiian cultural practitioners are always struggling.
See, this would have been perfect right now, especially for those who trying to travel to Maui and whatnot. They would have got all the info, where not to go, who to support, etc. That way we wouldn't have this problem of reopening, yeah?
And, we have to...
Wrap.
We have to wrap it up, but but I want to make sure that we give Elijah
A hammer.
A hammer. This
Yes.
is the Aloha Hour Hammer Award.
The Aloha Hour Hammer
Hammer
Award.
Award.
Eola. Hey, wow, this is sick.
This is for people to build the community.
Oh, man.
This is for hammers. For hammers.
This is killer, cuz.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
I appreciate you so much.
It was
bro.
such a good time, so valuable, so much information. I had chills half of the conversation. I was like chicken skin. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for sharing aloha.
Man.
And it means a lot to us. And it means a lot to our viewers. You coming down and sharing that love and sharing that aloha. And I hope we made a big difference tonight.
And always remember, kako, aloha aina, aloha akua, aloha kanaka. Because when we can live with our aina, with spirit, and with each other, then we can create Hawaii for the world, Hawaii.
Word.
Peace and love. Yo,
We're out.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Mahalo
The
nui.
Aloha Hour.
Eola.
Aloha.
Sick, bro. Thank you, bro.
Yes,
This is killer. Thank you, bro.